Hello. Events in Tigray, Ethiopia are just getting many turns. Recently, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed is mobilizing forces from regions in Ethiopia. So far, Somalia, Oromia, Afar, Sidama are being mentioned. Joining me here to discuss about these issues is Yasir Said. He's an Iguadani human rights activist and a political analyst on affairs in the Horn of Africa. Welcome to the show, Yasir.
Thank you so much for inviting me to the show, Dada. Salam, brother.
Salam, salam. So, here's the thing. We're going to deal with the subject I was just introducing, but people may want to know about you, so can you briefly discuss yourself, about your profile?
Okay, for sure. Just a quick background on myself. My name is Yasir Sayed. I'm born to a Somali father and a Tigrayan mother. I was born in Jigjiga, the capital state of Somali region, Ethiopia. And I immigrated to Canada with my mother when I was 1 year old. And I've been living here ever since. And my father also worked a long time for the Ethiopian government. He worked in the first Somali regional state parliament in 1993 under the first president of the region, Abdullahi Mohammed Sadi. And so I have a lot of background with Ethiopian politics and Horn of Africa politics in general.
I think that will make it. So, yes, here, how do the Somali Ethiopians understand the situation in Tigray, Ethiopia these days? The war on Tigray, we call it the genocidal war. And how is their government, their leaders like Mustafa presenting it to them? And do they have any other alternative ways of getting information about it? Do they know the real feel of what it looks like?
You know what, brother, that's a great question. But, to really answer your question directly, we have to start from the beginning. So as we all know, the government narrative is that the war started on November 5th due to an attack on the Northern Command by the TPLF. But for those of us that follow Horn of Africa politics and Ethiopian politics specifically, we know that this war was planned by Abiy Ahmed and his cronies long before November 4th. And due to the power gap that had happened due to the shift in 2018, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed coming to power, there was a vacuum, and that vacuum was needed to be filled. And as we can see, the Ethiopian government, the Ethiopian federal government, has really and truly pushed this narrative that it was an attack on the Northern Command. Them invading Tigray was to save the population, save the country. But we all know that this was to remove TPLF leadership so that Abiy Ahmed and his cronies can consolidate power in Arat Kilo.
Yeah, and then the question is, are they getting any information, the real information about it, what it looks like? We know how Abiy Ahmed presented it. Of course, there was a pretext for his to declare total war against Tigrayans and against Tigray, and we know what followed, all the humanitarian crisis, devastation, atrocities, and the like. And Somalis, do they have any other way of knowing the real information? How do they get their information about the war, other than the government narrative?
So to answer your question, brother, Mustafa is part of the Ethiopian leadership. As you know, he's the president of Somali Regional State, and he's a very close ally of Abiy Ahmed. So he is a part of the propaganda machine that the Ethiopian state is using to perpetuate this image that the Tigrayans are an enemy of the state, that they are not Ethiopians, they are a problem in the country and they need to be wiped out. So Mustafa is currently trying to rally up troops. I've heard about 5,000 troops to go to Tigray and fight. Mm-hmm. But as of today, I've heard information this morning that only 500 troops out of that 5,000 have accepted to go into the fight. A lot of troops have defected into Somalia. A lot of troops have went missing in action, but he's been able to send 500 troops, and really and truly that is very sad that he's sending those 500 Somali boys to the front line of this war for absolutely no reason. No valid reason.
And here is how it's evolving. The Amhara leaders, current leaders, regional leaders, are just mobilizing forces from the different regions against a sister region in the north, which is Tigray.
Yes.
They are using the Abiy Ahmed's Prime Minister's office to facilitate this, but it truly is about using all these forces from different regions for their own cause, which is not even the right cause. How do you comment on that?
Well, brother, to be honest with you, the thing about this whole situation is, it's like, this is from my personal opinion. This is a very sad situation that, like you said, a sister region, a region that is part of Ethiopia. This is not a foreign entity. This is not another country that we're fighting. This is our own brothers and sisters. This is our own fellow Ethiopians. It's just it's very honestly heartbreaking that Abiy Ahmed and all these other regional leaders are all working together to create all these militias, ethnic militias. And as we know, Ethiopia, we've already been going through many issues for the last couple of years, many political changes in the country, and this is no answer to anything. This is only exacerbating the situation and making things worse.
Mm-hmm. That's right. We heard that the Somali elders were intervening to stop the sending of their boys to the Tigray war front, and I heard like there were some successes in convincing some of the forces and stop them from going there. How far is this info true?
Well, so far, like I said earlier, as of my latest update from this morning from the region, I've heard that many of the forces that Mustafa has been trying to send to Tigray have defected, have honestly like disappeared. He's been able to get a little small clan militia of a few of his cronies and loyalists together, about 500 people, and he's took some pictures with them this morning saying we're going to send them off to fight this national duty. And honestly, it's like I said, it's very disappointing, but most people in the Somali region do not stand with this war. We do not support this war, and we will never ever support innocent Ethiopians being massacred by the state.
That's right. And I'm sure you have been following this development very seriously and attentively, and the Tigray people are fighting all these mobilizations against all odds, and they seem to have survived it somehow, but it's a matter that is continuing still. So as a Somali, what message of solidarity do you send to the Tigrayans viewing you right now?
Just to give you a little personal background on myself, right now, like I said, my dad, he worked for the previous regime in the region, and Mustafa Omar has personally targeted my family. He's arrested my father multiple times, the most recent being 4 months ago, which he's still in prison right now, and for no absolute reason other than him speaking his own mind, speaking up against the things that are happening in the region and the political situation, just simply voicing his opinion. My father's been isolated, he's been attacked. They're calling him a TPLF supporter, and just because his wife is Tigrayan, my mother's Tigrayan, he's been targeted by the regime. So honestly, Mustafa's regime, they personally do not like me or my family, because we stand with the people of Tigray. We stand with all nations and nationalities, and we're never afraid to voice our opinions for the voiceless.
Okay, now I'll give you one task. I know, I wish I knew Somali, how to speak Somali, and they ask you a couple of questions, but unfortunately I don't. And then the main of the messages you just spoke in English and targeting the Somali audience, your people.
Yes.
I want you to pass the message. I mean, how they should view this conflict, and what's happening to their people, to people in Tigray, innocent people, and about the genocidal nature of this war, and that they should stop sending their kids to war front that has no meaning, that has no cause, that has no purpose with any Somali issues at all. So target this general Somali audience and the special forces, if in case they feel you, they hear you. So continue with that.
So I'm going to send out two messages. My first message is in general to all Ethiopian peoples, all nations and nationalities. Please stand on the right side of history. Stand with the innocent civilians of Tigray. They are being massacred. They are being raped. They are being tortured by the state. Let's all stand on the right side of history. Let's stand with humanity. And for my Somalis, waxaan lahaa shacabka Soomaaliyeed dagaalkan asku gelina is ilaaliya haddaad wax u dhimanaysiin dhulkiina iyo dadkiina u dhinta u dhimanina dagaal ay Ethiopia idinka soo wajahayso dadkayga waxaan dhihi lahaa shacabkayga soo toosa Mustafa ka soo hor imaada arrintiisa insha Allah guusha waa anaga.
All right, so thank you Yasir for appearing here. So more often you can come and say things you feel like saying. So thank you for coming to the show.
Thank you so much for having me on the show, brother. I appreciate you having me.
Okay, my pleasure. Thanks, viewers. So I think you captured a couple of points, I'm sure, and that's all from us. Thank you as well.
Okay.
Thank you.